Greek Mythology Trivia Speed Round 3. Track how many questions you can get right. Question: what Greek god of war is known for his fiery chariot and helmet of terror? The answer is Ares. Fun fact: though feared in Greece, his Roman counterpart Mars was honored as a hero. Question: the Parthenon in Athens was built to honor which goddess? The answer is Athena. Fun fact: inside the Parthenon once stood a massive gold and ivory statue of Athena, over 40 feet tall. Question: who was the primordial god of time, often confused with a similarly named Titan? The answer is Kronos. Fun fact: Kronos represented time itself, while Cronus was a Titan who ruled during the Golden Age. Question: who was the goddess of the dawn, known for bringing light each morning? The answer is Eos. Fun fact: her Roman name is Aurora, from which we get Aurora Borealis. Question: which Greek god's name means wealth, ruling over the riches beneath the earth? The answer is Hades. Fun fact: Hades' Roman name, Pluto, comes from the same root meaning wealth. Question: which god drove the chariot of the sun across the sky each day? The answer is Helios. Fun fact: later myths merged Helios with Apollo, though they started as separate deities. Question: which blacksmith god crafted Achilles' armor? The answer is Hephaestus. Fun fact: his workshop was said to be inside a volcano. Question: which Roman goddess corresponds to the Greek goddess Hera? The answer is Juno. Fun fact: Juno was protector of marriage and women, just like Hera. Question: who was the Roman counterpart of the Greek god Ares? The answer is Mars. Fun fact: unlike Ares, Mars was viewed as noble and was one of Rome's most important deities. Question: which goddess of victory often accompanied Athena into battle? The answer is Nike. Fun fact: the famous athletic brand is named after her. The swoosh represents her wing. Question: which hero of the Trojan War was known for his cleverness and the Trojan horse plan? The answer is Odysseus. Fun fact: his long journey home inspired Homer's Odyssey, one of the world's oldest adventure stories. Question: what was the name of the Prince of Troy who killed Achilles? The answer is Paris. Fun fact: Paris struck Achilles in the heel with an arrow, guided by Apollo. Question: who was the Titan who gave fire to humanity and suffered eternal punishment? The answer is Prometheus. Fun fact: his liver was eaten daily by an eagle until Hercules freed him. Question: which deadly monsters did Odysseus face on either side of a narrow strait? The answer is Scylla and Charybdis. Fun fact: they inspired the phrase, "between a rock and a hard place." Question: which river of the underworld served as the boundary between Earth and Hades? The answer is Styx. Fun fact: gods swore oaths upon it. Breaking them meant losing immortality for 9 years. Question: what was the name of the poem that tells of Aeneas's journey after Troy? The answer is the Aeneid. Fun fact: it was written by Virgil and connects Greek and Roman mythology. Question: what epic poem recounts the events of the Trojan War? The answer is the Iliad. Fun fact: the Iliad covers only a few weeks of the 10-year conflict. Question: what sequel epic follows Odysseus's journey home after the war? The answer is the Odyssey. Fun fact: it took Odysseus 10 years to return to Ithaca after the war ended. Question: what Roman name corresponds to the Greek goddess Aphrodite? The answer is Venus. Fun fact: Venus was considered the divine ancestor of Julius Caesar's family. Question: who was the twin brother of Artemis? The answer is Apollo. Fun fact: he was the god of music, prophecy, and healing. Question: what creature was half man and half horse? The answer is centaur. Fun fact: centaurs symbolized untamed nature and chaos. Question: what was the sacred bird of Athena? The answer is owl. Fun fact: it symbolized wisdom and accompanied her in art and temples. Question: who was punished to eternally stand in water that receded when he tried to drink? The answer is Tantalus. Fun fact: his punishment gave rise to the word tantalize. Question: what monster had the body of a lion, head of a woman, and wings of a bird? The answer is the Sphinx. Fun fact: she devoured anyone unable to solve her riddle. Question: who was the father of the Muses? The answer is Zeus. Fun fact: their mother was Mnemosyne, the goddess of memory. Thanks for watching. Comment below to let us know how many questions you got right. If you like this video, tap like, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share with friends. See you in the next video.